why it's having offline secret negotiations with one stakeholder.
As a matter of practice, the CDC engages with stakeholders, with consumers who take our guidance.
It suggests that AFT leadership, they certainly changed the language of the guidance.
It was the CDC scientists that provided the guidance, that provided the science around what we should do.
Steve Scalise, House Minority Whip and ranking Republican on the House Coronavirus Subcommittee, is here with me now. Congressman, it's great to see you today. My first question is the CDC in trouble?
Harris, I think the CDC is in trouble because they're being asked very serious questions. And you go back to the campaign, President Biden said he was going to follow the science. And then here you had science saying most schools could reopen. In fact, the scientists were saying all schools should be opened. And they were getting ready to come out with that. And all of a sudden, the teachers union said, whoa, wait, we don't want to have to go back into the classroom and let students back in. And so you saw them change it. They changed some of the basic metrics of science that were going to be used so that then instead of having most kids back in the classroom, very few kids, about 90% of schools stayed closed because of that change in metrics undermining the science. And that was done by the Biden administration. They've yet to answer for it. We're trying to get those communications because this is hurting kids. It's hurting millions of kids across America who may never make up this difference of not being in the classroom when they should be, and the science says they need to be.
Real quickly, and I want to move on to a more big picture question, but how important or critical is it to know that the AFT was a huge donor, Democratic donor?
Oh, it's very important. And again, it's something that should be on the table for discussion. When you heard President Biden saying he was going to follow the science, and all of a sudden he throws the science out the window because a special interest donor, the teachers union, says that they don't want kids to be back in the classroom learning. And we're seeing this in so many states where parents are just rising up, even in Berkeley, when the teachers union head is telling all the teachers, don't go to class, you can't be in the classroom. And then they see him taking his kids to private school in the classroom. That double standard is just, people are going livid. They're infuriated because they know it's hurting their kids, and they're watching these union heads take steps that go against the kids. San Francisco, just to get a money grab, is going to go in the classroom for one day. So it shows you they can be in the classroom if it's about grabbing a bunch of money. But if it's about helping your kids, they're not in the classroom. This is a dangerous place to see what they're doing long-term damage for our kids.
What you're talking about is out in San Francisco, they're going to open up all the schools so that they can qualify for that cash and then go right back to where they were again. Tons of questions about that. I want to go, though, a Gestalt view, 37,000 feet, the big picture. There seems to be some heat building here. You've got all of this over the COVID-19 school closures and the overall handling of the pandemic by this current administration. Trouble getting Americans back to work, Representative Scalise. A massive crisis on our southern border, violence exploding in the Middle East, the pipeline hack that's causing panic buying of gasoline. I mean, the list actually is a little bit longer than that. And the big picture, leadership from the White House, where is it? Are Americans hearing enough from President Biden?
President Biden's leadership is non-existent. And you just mentioned a number of crises that we're seeing. The crisis at the border has become very evident. The president still won't acknowledge and go down to the border. Gas prices are through the roof, and people are now waiting in line. There was a major hack by Russia, likely. President Biden doesn't want to confront that. You're looking at home prices right now because of lumber prices going through the roof. An average home is over $36,000 more than it was a year ago. Look at what's happening right now with unemployment. 8 million jobs are unfilled right now. And President Biden just ushered through a very partisan bill to pay people billions of dollars not to work. When 8 million jobs are unfilled right now, we're paying people not to work, and they're borrowing money from our kids and our grandkids to do it. We're seeing this on every front, and the economy is really in a delicate spot. We're seeing inflation starting to go through the roof. Our country is less secure. Look at what's happening around the world. The Middle East, Iran, who the president wants to let back into an agreement to get a nuclear weapon. They're helping funnel these bombs that are being shot into Israel. I mean, where is the president's leadership on any of these crises?
Well, and where is he to answer the questions on all of this? I mean, specifically with Iran and what's going on between the Palestinians and Israel right now, what's breaking off really into a very volatile situation this week alone. We can't have access through our press corps to the President of the United States to ask about how that Iranian agreement or negotiation affects or infects what's going on with policy that we would have toward what's happening with Israel. I mean, we can't get there. We've got Jen Psaki, but that's not President Biden, so we think. I want to get to
and
this.
she's trying to
A
encourage
House
him not
hearing-
to answer questions.
Well, and that's what we're hearing. If there's something different, then show us. A House hearing underway right now. The topic on violent extremism and the response on the January 6th Capitol riot. Congressman, as this unfolds, you're now asking the FBI to reopen the investigation into the 2017 shooting at that Virginia baseball field that left you gravely injured. God bless you. You have recovered. But life-changing, your injuries, and along with several others who were hurt. Why the push for this now?
My colleague Brad Wenstrup, he's a congressman, but a medical doctor who saved me on that ball field, he started asking the new FBI director, Wray, why the FBI classified this as suicide by cop. Everybody who knows what happened on that ball field knows it wasn't suicide by cop. He went there to kill every Republican on the ball field. He had a list of names of other Republicans he wanted to kill. And thank God for the heroism of Capitol Police, who, by the way, were in plain clothes. They were not dressed out as officers that day. They were plain clothes. So he didn't know that they were cops, and they get into a shootout. He was trying to kill them. They both got shot, David and Crystal, in the shootout. That's not suicide by cop, and yet that's how it's classified by the FBI. Other agencies have called it domestic terrorism, which is more what it is. We've asked the FBI to go back and just update the record to reflect this properly, but also to let us know why it was classified that way in the first place when everybody else who's given it a classification called it domestic terrorism.
Yeah, I mean, if you can talk about what's going on in one place, we can certainly learn our lawmakers and police officers under attack in another to get to the answers. Congressman Scalise, great to have you on the program. Thank you very much.
Great being with you, Harris. Thanks.